It's ticket giveaway time. Have you been looking for the perfect concert to go to with your friend, but you just can't figure out which one to go to? WXOU has the solution. Might I suggest Similar Kind. Similar Kind is an indie pop group based out of Connecticut, and they are genuinely one of my favorite artists at the moment. They just have some of the best songs out there, and if you don't believe me, take a listen for yourself. So if you're at all interested in seeing Similar Kind at the Sanctuary, then be sure to go over to our Instagram page at WXOU Radio, and you'll find a promo over there where you can enter to win those tickets. Hope to see you there.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the GioMoShow. This time, a dedicated USPBL update for you. As I ran out of time last time I was doing the GioMoShow, I did all 30 minutes of the OU Sports Update on Oakland baseball. Left no time for USPBL, so I thought let's give this a shot. Let's do USPBL baseball on its own for its individual updates. So, for those of you who were looking for that in the original episode, my apologies. You can find it right here. So, the USPBL from June 22nd to June 28th are the games that we're going to be covering here this past week of USPBL baseball. As the standings currently are, Utica still in first place, 9-6 on the season. And the Eastside Diamond Hoppers in their East Division are a game and a half behind. 8-8 are their record. Moving to the West Division, we got the Westside Woolly Mammoths on top of that division, conference, etc., whatever you want to call it. They also sit at 500, this time at 9-9. And the reigning champion, Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, 7-10 on the season. So, in the respective divisions, both teams are a game and a half behind the team ahead of them. So, just a little interesting little nugget there. And some other nuggets for this one. For some reason, I've been forgetting to mention this in all my shows when I was talking about the USPBL, but so far this season, we have 4 players that were signed to a major league team. And we are now at 50 players in the history of the USPBL to go to the pros. And every single one of them went to the Minnesota Twins. For some reason, the Twins have just been eyeing the USPBL. They have been grabbing all our best players and bringing them to the majors. Starting off was Jake Wazinski, was a former Golden Grizzly right-handed pitcher who played for the Diamond Hoppers. He was the first to go in this season. And then followed Kyle Bischoff of the Westside Woolly Mammoths, also a pitcher. He went to Eisenhower High School as well. Just some local nuggets for those of you who are nearby. And then recently, this past week, we got 2 other players that were taken by the Minnesota Twins. The outfielder Francis Florentino, who is far and away the best hitter in the USPBL, played for the Westside Woolly Mammoths from, I believe, the Dominican Republic. He now also goes to Minnesota as the 49th player signed to a major league team. And the 50th was Duncan Hewitt, who was also of the Westside Woolly Mammoths, became the 50th player in the league to get to the big leagues. So big congratulations to those guys. And what they do and what they've been able to accomplish is the dream of everybody that's in this league. It gives validity to the league that they play in right now, and just a validity to all the work that they have done to get to this point. So a big congratulations to all 4 of those, and here's to more being signed by the Twins. So moving to the games, we're gonna give you the rundown of each game here. So the first one was played June 22nd, and as we look at my calendar here, June 22nd was this past Thursday, right after this last episode of the GioMoShow was live. And I was watching this one on their YouTube live stream on my way home, while I was editing all the videos for you guys that last week. I was watching this one, and this game was close. It was so close. It was the Hoppers and Unicorns. Started off, the Unicorns by the 5th inning were up 3-0 against the Hoppers. But a last-minute stretch They got Hoppers. They got 1 run in the 6th. They got 2 runs in the 7th to tie the game at 3-3. Now we're cooking here. Now the game is like really into it. Before, when you thought it was just going to be Unicorns a blowout. And then in the 9th inning, with the Hoppers' last chance to take the lead, they do take the lead 4-3 by getting 1 run in the 9th inning. But the Unicorns were just able to get another one to tie the game and send it into sudden death. And in that sudden death, it was the Unicorns playing on offense, and it was the job of the Hoppers to keep them from scoring. And in that overtime, it was the Hoppers on offense needing to score a single run against the Unicorns on defense to win the game. Unfortunately, the job was done by the Unicorns to win 4-4 in sudden death against my Diamond Hoppers because, of course it's the Unicorns. Ugh. I'm not a fan of the Unicorns. If you look on my Twitter, you can see a tweet after this game specifically saying, I hate the Unicorns. Facts. Moving on to the next game. The Diamond Hoppers are back at it. This is now the Friday game between the Hoppers and the Beavers. Another close one was played by the Hoppers here. Started off with the Beavers lead by only 1 run at the first inning. Hoppers ended up tying and then taking the lead. And by the 3rd inning, Hoppers were up 3-1 against the Beavers. And then we got a few innings of frozen scores. 4th, 5th, and 6th innings were scoreless. Until the 7th inning is when things really got cracked open. Hoppers, they tacked on another run to get what was then a 4-1 lead. And then the Beavers, they rack up 1, 2, 3, 4 runs to give themselves a lead, now 4-5 in favor of the Beavers after the 7th inning. The game was then tied in the 8th inning by the Hoppers with a single run to give it 5-5, now sending this game into sudden death. And this time, Hoppers on offense, they ended up getting the score to win the game against the Beavers 6-5 in sudden death. And in this game, the Hoppers, they had 16 hits throughout the entire game. And the fact that they only had 6 runs out of it is astonishing to me. And the Beavers, they had quite a bit themselves. They attacked on 8 runs in this game. But victory went to the Hoppers. Now moving on to the Saturday doubleheader was between the Westside Woolly Mammoths and the Utica Unicorns. And the Mammoths did a bang-up job in Game 1 at least. Game 1, it started off with a Mammoths 3-0 lead right out of the gate in the first inning. And the Unicorns were unable to respond, and they stayed scoreless until the 4th inning. But not before. In the 3rd inning, where the Westside Woolly Mammoths tacked on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs to now have an 8-0 lead after the 3rd inning. And I mentioned the Utica Unicorns, they scored in the 4th inning. How many did they score? All 6 of the runs in the 4th inning to make it 8-6, which ended up being the final score of Game 1 of the doubleheader. So the Mammoths, they were able to withstand the comeback effort from the Unicorns, capping them off at 6 points and just coasting the rest of the game through to take Game 1. But now moving to Game 2, every time, I swear with these doubleheaders in the USPBL, for some reason, it's almost never a sweep. You almost never see 2-0 in a doubleheader, and it's usually, even then, it's usually it's one side and then it's all the way the other. And this was no different. So when I mentioned it was 8-6 the first game, this game was 1-5 in favor of the Unicorns. I'll take you through it. First inning, it was the Unicorns starting the scoring, 2 runs to have a 2-0 lead. Mammoths, they responded with 1 in the following inning. The Utica Unicorns matched it to give them what is now a 3-1 lead after the 3rd inning. 4th inning comes around, the Unicorns tack on another one. 5th inning comes around, the Unicorns tack on another one to get that final score of 5-1 in favor of the Unicorns for Game 2 of the Saturday doubleheader. So the Mammoths and the Unicorns split on Saturday. Moving on to Sunday's game between the Hoppers and the Beavers once again. The Thursday matchups are usually given a redo, I guess you could say a redo, for Sunday's game. Or I should say Friday's game is usually done again on Sunday. I know calendars. I can read calendars. So for this game here, it was once again between the Beavers and the Hoppers. Beavers started off with a single run, but was matched by the Hoppers, 1-1. And then in the second inning, the Hoppers tacked on another one to gain the lead, 2-1. Beavers ended up matching them in the fourth inning, another single run. We're at 2-2. Then we come all the way to the seventh inning for more scoring. Hoppers tacked on not one, but two runs to now take a 4-2 lead over the Beavers. And the Beavers, they made it close. Eighth inning, they got another single run. 3-4 now is the score. And towards the end of the game, you're thinking this one's going to be close. And the Hoppers score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runs in the eighth inning to just annihilate and end the game just the way I like it, to give a final score of 10-3 in this game against the Beavers. And like I mentioned before with the, I believe it was the Friday game. Yes, it was a Friday game. Hoppers had 16 hits in that game. Well, we move on to the next matchup. They now had 12 hits in this game. Beavers did have 6, but still a lot of offense being produced by the Hoppers against the Beavers. I'm a fan of it. I'm fine with it. So the Hoppers take the game on Sunday. And now we got a couple games that were not played in front of the public. Tuesday the 27th was the Unicorns and the Beavers in a game that ended in a landslide. Can you guess who won it? Are you done Googling it? All right. 11-1 was the final score in favor of the Beavers. And since it's a loss to the Unicorns, I'm also a fan of it. So this game was obviously all Beavers. You had 2 runs by the Beavers in the second, 4 in the fourth, 1 in the seventh, and then you have 4 runs in the eighth to bring them all the way to that 11. And Unicorns, they didn't score until all the way in the ninth inning, where they were down 11-0. So they kept it from being a shutout, but still 11-1 against the reigning champs. Beavers had 13 runs. Unicorns had 9 hits, only able to get 1 coming back home. And just for some hitting spotlights, just because of the lopsided scoring, you got J.D. Stubbs going 2 for 5 with 2 runs and 2 RBIs for the Beavers. You had Raymond Hilbrich went 3 for 5 with a run and 2 RBIs. And then Tremaine Spears, 2 for 4 and a run. Obviously, some of the scoring was spread out. You also got Marcus Judd, who went 2 for 3, 2 runs and 2 RBIs. Just some hitting highlights for you guys. The Beavers pitching did really well, of course, holding them to 1 point. Rain Man. I'm sorry, Rain Man. RHAINMANN. Rain Man. He had 4 innings, 5 hits allowed, but 2 strikeouts and no runs. Brian Ross also had 4 innings in that game, 2 hits, and also 2 strikeouts. So, great pitching performance. Obviously, it's going to come with a game that's lopsided like this, but Beavers take the Tuesday game against the Unicorns. And then that brings us to the Wednesday game. There's no game being played here today on Thursday, which is the day of this recording. Wednesday the 28th was the last time they played, or the league played. It was the Hoppers and the Mammoths in this matchup. In another very close game. The Hoppers have just been on a razor's edge all week. So I'll take you through the game here. I won't spoil the winner just yet. So the game was completely scoreless after 4 innings. Goose eggs all across the board. The scoring started in the 5th inning, where in the Mammoths, they were able to go up 2-0 by getting 2 runs in the 5th inning. Another scoreless inning in the 6th. And then the Diamond Hoppers, they wake up and they finally get a run. Now they get a single one to make it 2-1. Now the game's within just a single run. Mammoths keep them at arm's distance. They get another run tacked on. And in the Diamond Hoppers' last chance to tie the game and send it into sudden death or potentially win it, they were stopped short with just getting a single run. Final score was the Mammoths 3-2. And just keeps the Hoppers a game and a half behind the Unicorns. It's a long season, but man, I would love to be within half a game of the Unicorns. But we got a lot of baseball left to play here for my Frogs. So, not to worry. I'm still confident in my Frogs. Hashtag Frog Up. Be sure to use that when you're on social media talking about USPBL, because I know you guys all do it. Okay, I see it. You guys all do it. So give it a hashtag Frog Up. And that is going to wrap up the games that were played in this past week of the USPBL between June 22nd and June 28th. Coming up in the USPBL, we got the Beavers and the Mammoths playing Friday on the 30th for the Rainbow Connection night of what I can only assume is the Muppets themed. Yeah, it doesn't give much more detail. I would imagine that's a Muppets night, so that is your Friday game. Now we get into the month of July on the calendar. We got the Saturday doubleheader between the Hoppers and Unicorns. What a better chance to, take the lead in the East for my Hoppers. It's going to take a sweep, but it would definitely help. That's going to be Canada Day, presented by Crown Royal, and that one. And then Sunday's game is going to be the Mammoths and the Beavers once again for Salute to America celebration night. And then coming up in this next week, in the weekend after, we got All-Star Game, baby. So we're getting to it in the USPBL. I'm hoping to see a lot of Hoppers in that All-Star Game. So that's going to wrap it up for this update on the USPBL that we do here on the GioMoShow. My apologies for not being able to get it in the single video like I usually do. My 30 minutes that I get before showing my interview that I love showing, of course. But, ran a little long with the baseball season. There was a lot of games to cover in college baseball. There 50-some games. It's a lot more than, the volleyball or the soccer games that I've recently done reviews for, which you can check out on YouTube and Spotify. So it took the 30 minutes, and I'd imagine when I end up covering softball, it's going to be a similar deal. But I kind of like separating the videos, so let me know if you guys enjoy it as well. And that's going to wrap up this episode of the GioMoShow, updating you on the USPBL at Jimmy John's Field. We'll see you on Thursday at 6 on WXOU 88.3 FM.